What's up, guys? Welcome back to ESK8 Exchange, the show where we talk about electric skateboarding, MBoards, board bumpers. But this week, more importantly, ESK8CON. This is the recap episode. It just happened. I mean, today is, as of filming this, is Tuesday. It happened on Saturday and Sunday. And just get it out of the way, it went freaking awesome. Yeah. Like, it just went so well. Anyway, Jacob, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, yeah,
as
man,
always. And then Maddie's got a camera this week.
We got Maddie.
Look at that.
I have a camera.
Oh,
Look
boy.
At me go.
She's killing it. And we are all matching, as you can see.
We got our unis on today.
We do. We have a couple extra. We have like a handful of extra. So if you want one, let me know. Maybe I don't know. We'll figure that out. But anyways, we wanted to just dive into the event, figure out, like, talk about what went well, what needs work, like, just a recap of events for anyone who couldn't be there.
It's like a digest.
Right.
You know, and just like get it all out there. This is also a good way for us to remember most of this stuff because in like a week, it all just slowly
it'll start blurring. Yeah, we wanted to make sure we sat down, got this stuff done early, or got the podcast done early, so that way it's all still fresh in our minds. We had a night to sleep on everything, but now let's get. I think we get into it.
Boy, did I sleep.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I took Monday off of work. So if you're emailing us on Monday, I apologize.
Yeah,
I was totally not. I hadn't slept for weeks before that. So Monday I just slept. So that was cool.
Milo was exhausted.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He didn't sleep the whole day. Like, people were coming up to us the whole time because he was at the concession booth and he didn't sleep all day, and he's used to a lot of naps. So it was rough for him. And we were waking up before the sun, and he was very confused because it was dark and we were awake. And so he got home at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on Sunday, and he slept until 5:30 on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
And did not get up to eat or to play or anything.
He was just sleeping.
Out.
That's great.
So Friday, we were scrambling around here. It was fun because at one point we had the Hunter Boards team here.
Yeah.
We had Fred over at Esk8 Unity here and his buddy Max.
His camera guy. He's a good dude, by the way.
Yep, very cool.
Both of them.
Both of them are very cool.
James was here.
James was here.
Us.
We all were here. So like the whole place was just popping. Like all kinds of shit going in, like, going crazy. We're trying to get the trucks loaded.
You guys are still shipping out orders.
We're still shipping out orders. We're still doing our best to like.
He's like in between asking questions like, well, what about this? And you're like, it's over here.
Yeah, like we're
because things were getting moved around on me. Like my ESCs were there, and now they're over here because we were like, oh well, don't put those on the truck. And then all these guys were just wandering around like, what's up? And I was like, hey, I don't know who you are, but all right, what's going on?
Yes. Oh, you know what's so funny is like I know who Fred is. I know him. I see him on social media all the time. He walks in to my office, and I go, "What is your name again?"
You just had a total brain fart.
I was just like, out of context, I'm like, I don't know who you are. You know, I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that where like you know somebody in a certain setting, but then in a different setting, you're like, I don't, it's not clicking for me. And I don't know who you are. That's exactly what happened. And as soon as he went, my name's Fred, I go, oh, dude, sorry. Like I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh, geez. I just wasn't expecting him. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting him in my office.
I've also never learned anybody's names.
No, I know everyone's usernames.
I refer to them by their handles. Or their,
isn't that a weird
forum names?
Weird
it's
world
so
we
weird
live in now that's how we do it. It's not even like a name.
Yep. But Friday was good. We were just running around. I didn't go to sleep until 1:45 a.m. Friday, just making sure. Because like the convention stuff was first. Then the MBoards stuff was second. So because if MBoards didn't have a booth, no big deal. But I slept till like 1:30 a.m. I finished a battery build, got it in one of my boards.
You didn't finish battery build. You started and finished it.
I did an entire build. No, I did an entire build. I built an entire board from literally scratch, from the raw cells all the way up.
Which ran flawlessly all weekend.
Well, actually, that board I'd never powered on once the entire weekend. It was just there as a display.
Oh.
So I should have just had that board sitting there empty, but whatever. My current board, though, that I've been riding, it ran beautifully all weekend.
Gotcha.
It was awesome. Anyone who rode it had a great time on it, so that was cool. But other than that, it was great. Okay, so other than that, though, we went to bed at like 1:30 and woke up at like 6:30.
Right.
So I had I think 5:30 or something like that. I had 4 hours of sleep that night, which I didn't really. I laid in bed for 4 hours, but I was just like panicking.
You left the house before 6.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I was just pretty much panicking the whole night because finally 8 months of work was either going to flop or was going to be successful. And and there was no way of knowing for sure, what was going to happen once we got there, once everyone showed up. But it went well, thankfully. Everything was, awesome. So Saturday we get there. I didn't know how long it was going to take to set everything up. It took 3 hours to set up, but I only got there 2 hours early.
Yeah.
So we were kind of setting up into that first hour a little bit, but no one was really, breaking down the door right at 8, 9 a.m.
Honestly, actually, there were. I went up front with Tiny at like 8:45, and she was turning people away.
Oh.
She had to already start asking. Well, it wasn't 8:45. She was late. I was late. We were all a little late that morning, but not. She was turning people away at first. She's like, "Can you guys, give us like a few minutes? We're still kind of, organizing. The vendors aren't ready yet.
Yeah.
It's not 9 o'clock yet." So she did have a few.
A
wasn't
handful.
a line of 100.
The good news is anyone who was there that early were like the really enthusiastic ones that were totally cool with whatever happening. So
like I'd say 10, 12 that were, they just kind of hung around in the front and waited until the trucks pulled away, I think.
Yep. So we had a big 26-foot truck unload everything. Flux Movement, they had their own like 16 or 20-foot truck full of stuff. Their booth was wild. But yeah, we got it all in. Concessions, we had a whole little tunnel area for their concessions. Geckoderm board bumpers and MBoards. We all had our booths there.
Yep.
That took us a minute. My booth didn't really get done until around 10:30. Yeah. And then it sat empty the entire weekend because I was just running around like crazy. So that was kind of funny, but whatever.
Shout out Propulsion Boards.
Yeah.
So
answering a lot of questions.
Yeah. So originally Propulsion Boards they were in a different spot of the expo, but they're from Portland. They flew down, they brought all their stuff, but they didn't bring like a tent. And he was one of the only ones without a tent, and he's sitting right in the sun. I'm like, dude, he's gonna get so burned. Well, we had next to the MBoards booth, we had a Nobleman and Flatland 3D kind of like little manless display. We just 2 tables underneath the tent. So I'm like, all right. I walked over there. I was like, dude, do you want to just move your table underneath this tent with the other? You'll have to have 2 little tables next to you.
Right.
But like, it's better than frying all weekend. Yep. And he goes, oh, thank you, dude. Yeah, absolutely. So he brought it over and didn't even realize that this could have been a benefit, but people would walk up to the MBoards booth. I wouldn't be there and they'd have questions about our new board. Well, the night before, he'd already been here. So we had already talked about the new board. So he pretty much knew all the information. He would just quickly sidestep from his booth into my booth and start answering questions for me. I was like, great. Thank you, dude. Like that, I was just super appreciative that he would take the time to like help I guess we'll call us competitors, like, same type of, smaller company that are making boards. Like,
I had actually thought about that when you laid the schedule out and you guys were side by side. I was like, this is so weird because they're almost identical. I say identical, not identical, but like they're very similar companies.
Very similar.
I wonder how this will work. And I would say it was way, way better than like both of your boards are unique.
Yep.
But you guys both share the passion to do it. So I think it was fitting you guys were right next to each other.
And he is such a cool guy. He was one of the very first companies to say yes.
Yeah.
Like literally
not the first.
I think he was the first. It was me.
Which you don't count.
I don't count.
Or me.
It was board bumpers.
Doesn't count.
And which didn't really count. But Propulsion Boards was the very first like non-affiliate business that said, yeah, no, we'll be there. And they showed up. And we did have Geckoderm confirmed before we purchased it.
Right?
Yeah, we did. Isaac did confirm with us prior to us purchasing them, but by the time the convention came around, we now own them too. But anyways, they were one of the very first businesses to say, you know what, this sounds great. We'll be there. And I don't know. I'd like to think without him saying yes, who knows? Who would have been the next first person to say yes without any other real confirmations? I don't know. So I just want to, he deserves a special thank you just for, just believing in the, the whole thing. But anyway, so the first day we sold quite a bit of pre-sale tickets. I want to say like 110, 120 pre-sale tickets. But then we had like 40 to 50 people walk-ups.
That was wild.
I just could not believe how many people were. There was like a group of 6 guys from Miami on vacation here. Walked up and go, "What's this?" Sure, buy us all a ticket.
We want to drive go-karts. And within like 10 minutes, they were freaking out on the skateboard, so they decided they'd do that too.
Yeah, so guarantee you, one of those guys buys a board when they get home.
Right,
Guaranteed.
no doubt, 100%.
From who? I don't know, but we'll see. But anyways, we ended up having just an incredible turnout. I mean, it was so busy in there. There's just people everywhere, and that's exactly what I envisioned in my head. But it's just hard to think. I don't know. I just feel like there was always there was a moment where we weren't sure if it was going to happen or not. We didn't know if we were going to have enough vendors to make it worth it. But slowly but surely, one vendor just kept plugging along. And I guess if you build it, they'll come. And they did. Like, all these people showed up. And it was really awesome.
I think we hit, our kind of goal too, which was 20 vendors, excluding us.
Right.
And over 200 in attendance. And so between the ticket sales, and we gave away so many free vendor passes. So we don't really even know what that, we really don't know how many, I guess, really came in. We could probably check to see how many badges.
We were trying to do each booth gets 4 vendor passes, but we were relatively lenient on that. We were just thankful that the vendors showed up at all. Yeah. But really,
I would imagine at least 50 vendor badges were passed out, and then we did have just over 50 walk-ins pay. Yeah. And I know that there were some sneak-ins. A decent number that did not pay. Right. So count those for what you will.
Yeah. But let's not mistake though, those vendor passes, they are just as good as attendees. They really are. Yeah. They're because 100%. They like to meet with each other. They talk with each other. A lot of them are customers of each other, especially like Hoyt likes to sell the pucks to anyone who will have them on their boards. Sure. So we all work together kind of. So they are all we'll definitely be getting pucks for our new boards pretty soon.
It's where we get a lot of, where a lot of the content comes from too. The vendors, the companies, of course they want to show off where they are and things like that. The attendees, we get just as much, but this is kind of the continuous effort that's really what makes the year one group and all these so connected, is that all of this content from here on out, it's not specific to anybody. It's all been so inclusive. It's pretty cool.
Right. No, it was great. So just the overwhelming support on this year one was awesome. So Saturday, to me, Saturday went relatively flawlessly. I don't think we had anything, because we didn't have any racing or anything that day. It was just all open track. We had the raffle, which was awesome. We gave away so much stuff.
We had a few early day crashes, I think, as people were kind of learning the track.
Yep.
But
nobody got seriously hurt, though.
No. They were just little spills, little wipeouts. They were the same ones we fell on the first time we rode. We're like, oh, that corner's a little slippery. Yeah. I mean, what are we going to do? Put signs up, hey, heads up. Right. Some guys were riding that track in a way that I just didn't even think was possible. There was a dude on some blue Caguamas ripping on a boosted that made that track look like it was a roller coaster. Yeah, it was so cool to watch him ride. He did really good in the race. We have been trying to track this dude down on Instagram, by the way. If anybody knows,
I don't know who. I'm trying to tag him.
Yeah, we nobody seems to know. So not to be weird and start creeping and find out who this is, but if anybody finds him, tell him to give us a buzz.
I would also believe it if he didn't have Instagram.
It's very possible.
I know what he does for a living. He drives a dairy truck. He drives milk in a big truck, but he doesn't drink milk, but he loves to smell it. That's what he told me.
Wow, that is very strange.
That doesn't help you identify his Instagram at all, but I know that.
Nope.
This guy is
he's a character for sure.
We got to find this guy.
Anyways,
skating for 30-something, 40 years or crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, so Saturday though, during the day, it went super well. I don't think I have any real complaints. It was hotter than we all thought it would be. It's March. I mean, usually it's not that warm, but last week it was in the 70s. The weekend though was 90, and right now we're sitting here at 68 degrees at 1 o'clock.
We were back in our hoodies. I was freezing this morning.
So it just had to be hot for those 2 days, I guess. It just because we had an event, but it was hot. But
a lot of people liked it.
They were coming from
snowing.
Yeah,
a lot of people were just coming from. Right. So
they were excited to see the nice weather. So
probably the SoCal folks in the Arizona. Oh, it's hot. Well, I mean,
I did hear
hot
that.
Where you live.
Yeah, I heard. Well, I'm used to
Right.
California, it's cold at night. I was
Right.
like, well.
Yeah, well.
We could have did this in Oregon, and it would have been a total coin flip on whether it was dumping rain or
No.
just like raining.
You know what's funny though? Monday, the day after,
Right.
it rains
Rained.
all freaking day.
And it was so windy.
Right.
So, which is super rare for Vegas. It just doesn't really rain
I
here.
don't know about you, but I enjoyed it.
No,
I was like rain dancing. It was
so
nice.
awesome. It was
Like, thank
awesome
you for
because it was the
doing this
day
today.
after.
Exactly.
Thank you for
doing this
holding out.
today.
Thank you for holding out.
That's great.
So Saturday night after the expo, which the expo just, again, it went so well, was our group ride. And I cannot believe the gigantic crowd we had show up. I don't know how many people were there, but well over 100 people. Well over 100. I would say at least 150.
I think at the biggest point when we were probably going through downtown, it was more than 200.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we had the bikes show up kind of last minute.
Yep.
That was a big group. We found like already 4 or 5 videos of just tourists that had shown up, happened to have their board, and they're like, "Holy crap, where'd this group of people come from?"
And then just hopped in.
And then they rode with us. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
I can guarantee you that we caused some serious traffic issues on the strip on Saturday night. Some major delays on the strip Saturday night because of we were riding, five lanes across, 5 lanes wide, for a lot of it. There was just so many of us.
Which my biggest fear was just anybody getting hit by a car.
Right.
That was just my first
I will
thought
say
was,
nobody got hit by a car, but we
No.
did have a guy go down.
We had a couple actually, and
Yeah.
the big one was a big one.
Yeah.
Have we heard from him?
I tracked him down. He broke his wrist and his shoulder.
Okay.
He had surgery. He's doing well. He's a Vegas local, actually.
Yeah.
And we're going to send him a care package of some kind. I'm not sure what we're going to put in it yet, but we're going to hook him up. He was the only one that he got taken by ambulance.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, he was the only one that got a
Seriously
serious
injured.
injury.
Yeah. Raider, Cody,
Yep.
Raider Esk8.
He
He
went
went down
down.
in the middle of the strip.
But he hopped up like
He
nothing.
did.
So he was a
had
trooper.
He had some armored gear on. So
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
he was good. He had a
He was good.
full face, knee pads. Like he pads up because he rides crazy. So that's good
Yep.
to see. But
Yeah. But you know what, though? Not to say anything. When you have this many riders, it's a numbers game. It's the probability of
Right.
somebody getting seriously hurt. Even if it's 1%, you get 200 riders out there. That's 2 riders.
it's enough. Yeah.
It's enough.
But we
So
had-
even if it's a 0.5%, that's one guy.
Right.
And the 0.5% of us apparently,
did James fall?
James was
No,
fine.
no.
So our buddy James,
rode
that might
pretty-
be the first time
he rode
I've
pretty
heard of
chill,
him
he
not
rode
falling.
he rode very, very chill. So
On
James
your
Good.
things though, of all things.
Yeah,
But
Oh.
yeah,
James rode very
needed
chill.
the
So if you
rain.
guys don't know, James ended up breaking like the joint, the ball off the top of his femur,
Right.
like clean off, and they drilled it back together with 3 gigantic, like 5-inch long screws. And 4 weeks later, he's
Yeah.
back riding again. Which James, you stop doing that. You
He's
should
a
just
different breed.
He's
Yeah.
he's insane. But he should definitely not be riding. But he did. You can't stop that dude. He's gonna do what he wants. But
I knew he
rode.
wasn't gonna miss the event either.
No.
There was
He
no way.
he got out there. He rode. He took it easy, and he finished the ride. It was awesome.
In fact, I didn't see him walk one time the whole event. He was
No.
on a one wheel the whole time. Every
Right.
time I saw him, he was riding up to me. Like he was never
Yeah.
walking.
he's nuts. But the ride was a bit chaotic because it's just the strip. I mean, it's the Las Vegas Strip.
So hard to explain riding on the strip.
It's hard to explain it, but parts of the strip are awesome. Parts of them not so much. We mainly only had issues. I feel like a couple blocks from the sign.
Yeah, so basically, like some of y'all know Vegas, but Treasure Island to Caesars is an absolute cluster. There's just so many little casinos. There's so many big casinos. There's event space. It was crazy, and that was where all the traffic is. So unfortunately,
Right.
that's sort of where the group went boom,
Yeah.
and blew up on us.
Yep.
And we got a little split up, and there's some riders comfortable riding in traffic. There were some that not so comfortable. So
I was not so comfortable.
you know, being able to control that. And we heard a lot like, you know, we got to wait for the group behind. Man, we are on the Strip. It's one of the busiest, craziest roads in the country, and you just can't stop. You can't pull over. There's no sidewalk. It's blocked off to the street normally so that pedestrians don't just walk into the street. There are very few spots that you can physically get onto to the road from the sidewalk.
The thing about the Strip is they want to, there's a lot of foot traffic. So to prevent vehicles from flying into sidewalks and killing tons of pedestrians given a car accident, they also don't want people jaywalking. Yep. So all the sidewalks are totally barricaded off, so you cannot physically, it makes it impossible to jaywalk. Even the crosswalks, a lot of the crosswalks are actually bridges. Yep. You have to go up and over the Strip because they don't want the pedestrians on the street because it gets crazy sometimes.
And
so
you have to imagine the right-hand lane is sort of like a highway. It's a turning lane.
Right.
Like the whole lane, it just continues to turn into casino after driveway. And like, so you can't just hang out on the right side because that's where every car on the Strip ultimately is. They're going into one of those. So
so you actually have to be in the first lane after
which turned into like the first, second, third, fourth lane that we were using.
It was nuts.
But
so I do think next year, I think we don't need to go down the Strip. I think we just hang out downtown.
Yeah, you didn't come to year one. Like that was an experience that I've only ever done twice.
I've only done it once, and I think that's all I'll do.
And honestly, like it's just like it's so special of a ride because it's so intense. But I feel like you don't even look around, so it's hard because it's pretty nerve wracking. But we don't recommend you just go out and ride the Strip.
No.
We had a group of 200 of very skilled guys that have ridden for a long time.
Right.
You know, we laughed. We saw so many DIYs. You see so many lights. These people have been out on streets. So if you're out there by yourself, we do not suggest you do this. It's very, very, very scary.
You know what's funny is I almost so very slow speed, but I almost definitely got hit a Tesla. Because I did not hear them.
Oh no!
So I'm just starting to drift.
You didn't do his fart noise or anything?
No. I started drifting I was just kind of change lanes, right? And all of a sudden, this girl on an EUC behind me goes, "No, car!" I'm like, "Oh!" And I kind of cut back over, and I look, and it's the dark gray Teslas. I'm like, "Oh shit! Hey, how you doing?" So I almost gave, it literally would have been a 3-mile-an-hour bump,
right?
But still, touching anyone's vehicle, they would have been. I can tell you this: if I was driving my Tesla down the road and someone gave me a little bunch, I would have lost my mind.
Who heard the lady in the car on the phone?
Oh man,
freaking out?
I don't remember who. I think it was
lady
John.
In a car on the phone.
It was a story that was told to me either by James or John or somebody.
This is new.
So they're riding their boards down, and they pass this lady driving in her car with all her windows down.
Okay.
And she's frantically looking around going, I don't know. I'm not sure. They're all around me. I'm like, oh my God. So they're like freaking out. I'm like, we were just definitely kind of a nuisance to the Strip. Yes. All of a sudden, Metro Police car starts driving down next to us, and they're just, so the thing is with Clark County, at least in Vegas, is electric skateboards have all the same rights as bicycles do.
Right.
So we're legally allowed to be in the street. We're allowed to be there. So they can't really say, well, one, how you pulling over 200 people, and two, we're not really doing anything wrong. We're just being in the streets.
As long as you're following all the rules.
As long as you're following
helmets
right. So they were just on the intercom the whole time, move over to the right, and we did what we could, and they left us alone. They were really nice. They were cool about it.
I watched the crowd. You guys were kind of in front of me, so I watched the whole crowd slowly drift to the right when the cops were like next to you guys. And I was behind them going, oh no, already? Like,
we're getting pulled over.
Please no. And then like slowly the cops just seemed like they were getting further away, and then the group just kept drifting to the left and filling all the lanes back up. And I'm like, oh, I guess we're good to go. They must not have cared. We just were getting out of his way. That's perfect.
John was saying.
In hindsight, with how many people, we should have called ahead just to give them a heads up that
Yeah,
this was going
we'll do that
on.
next year.
Yeah.
Like my mom was looking at the group picture and she's like, how many people did you have? And I showed her the picture and she's like, oh,
And that wasn't
yeah.
even all, because that was really just like
Yeah.
what we could round up really quick.
Right. But we
Maddie's-
definitely should have called.
For reference, Maddie's mom's a 911 call taker, and Maddie's dad is a fatal auto accident detective.
I'd be interested to know, did she get any calls?
She
there's
said
some
she
craziness?
couldn't wait to get to work to look up to see how many events were created for our
Nice.
group. But
Yeah.
I didn't get the number from her yet.
No.
But,
Okay,
if
well,
I do, I'll definitely let
see.
you know.
But John was saying, Maddie's dad was saying that there's got to be just hours and hours of Fusion Watch footage, which is all the cameras up on all the poles. They film everything on the strip.
Man.
Yeah, so
he's like-
there's people that sit up in towers and they just,
just
watch
watch.
every camera.
They just
and then
giggle,
if they
probably.
see something, they record it and they file it away into an event. So like they were definitely watching every move
Everything
that
we
you guys
did.
were doing, everywhere you were going. If somebody broke off, they were watching, like, because it was definitely, you guys were super sketchy.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
make
So-
sure you're not causing a nuisance or
No,
who knows, like-
everything was fine. Aside from maybe annoying some tourists on the streets, like it was
Yeah,
fine. It really
a
was.
few, like cab drivers wanted to be cool and not let you in, and it's like, all right, man, cool. We're going faster than you. Where are you
Well, that's
going?
the thing, is we're passing these cars.
We were passing most cars because there was no place for them to go.
How funny though, like to have never seen a one-wheeler, an electric skateboard, or the guy on the freaking chair, like,
Oh, you'd freak.
you know, and it's just like,
the little scooter?
what are these? And there's so many of them. Like, where are they coming from? Like, how freaky.
The LA guys had their little purple scooter on the freaking road.
Yeah,
the
they
whole
have
time. It
the
was great.
the Flux Moving guys has this little electric
Yeah.
purple.
It's like one
Ferrari
of those
or
little, It's like
something?
one of those little cars that kids drive, like the little
Kind of.
battery-powered
Yeah.
cars.
But
kinda.
it's that size, but
like
it's
ricered out
but
electric
it's
style. Though.
ridiculously overpowered.
it's super
It's
cool.
so cool, and they were just whipping those things down the strip. It was really cool.
That was fun.
So that was the group ride.
That was a group ride. It
So
worked out.
then-
Everyone, I mean, aside from our one that went down, everything worked out. A couple guys got disconnected from the group, got lost, had to Uber. We'll work on that. I think next year we're just going to stay downtown, make it simple,
Yeah.
make it a little bit more pleasant instead of less. It's not, I think this year we went, let's do something big. Let's
So crazy.
accomplish something
Yes.
big. Next year, I think we just hang out, we cruise, make it a little less hiking.
because
make it
people
more
are going to
low-key.
go on their own anyways. And then,
Yeah.
so
Right.
Sunday morning was definitely a slower start
Yeah.
for most.
Yeah, the
Couple
Vegas
people
flu.
Vegas too hard.
Yep.
Man.
So it was a little bit slower coming in Sunday, getting ready for the races and everything.
Yeah, but all of our racers, they made it in. The races were intense. I
Yeah.
mean, it was good. We had our pro division, 18S Proto took our pro division by a lot.
Yeah,
He
did.
he
His
killed it.
there's a video of his finish. It's
he absolutely
pretty
killed
cool.
it.
He was so jazzed too.
Yeah,
He was
super
so
cool.
excited.
Colorado Caddy took our first place sportsman by a photo finish. Was the best race of the weekend in my
wheel.
opinion.
It was the only one that I watched, and it was really exciting to watch because they were back and forth. They kept taking the lead from each other like the whole race, and I didn't know how many laps there were. I walked in on like the second one, I think.
Yeah.
So every time they'd cross, I'd be like, "Was that it?" Like I
Yeah.
didn't know when
Maddie's
they were
just
done.
sitting there not paying attention to the flags at
Caddy
all.
didn't know
I
he
don't
won
know.
at first either. He ended up going another whole round, so he just went another lap, and then he.
Well,
he
that's
was
why I
still in
got
front, both of
confused
the
because
guys.
they
Yeah.
did the checkered flag, and that's
Right.
what I thought meant it was over.
Right.
But then they kept going around. I was like, "Oh, does that mean that this is the last
There
lap?"
was
I don't
a
watch
lapped,
NASCAR.
There was a
or
lapped
anything.
rider, and I think the flagger got a little early with the flag or something. Like
Okay.
he was a little off with the lapped guy. I think he was late with the flag.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so the guys, of course, you're racing. You're not
You're not counting.
physically looking for the flag really either. Like those guys were looking at the finish line. If you can see in the film, they're both just like locked in on the finish line. So
Right.
And then they crashed.
Then they bump, they fall. They're
Yeah,
all good. They
that was
get
cool.
up.
They gave a big hug to each other. Like that was racing. It
was very cool.
was super
Very cool to
Yep.
watch.
And then our novice, I don't know the guy's name on who won the novice.
Yeah, those guys are sneaky. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the boosted guys.
We could look at the list.
Yeah.
But I don't have a handle or anything.
Yeah, I try to plug their handles, but we're missing their handles for all those little boosted crew came, and I don't know any of their handles. They were kind of just
Were they local?
no. I don't. They were very. I don't know. They didn't give us a lot of
Serious.
information.
They were mysterious.
Mysterious is a good word.
Sorry,
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna look it up because I know I saw it today. So give me 1 second.
But yeah, the guy, the winner of
well, Mark got
who?
third.
Mark got second, third,
second.
Coos, Adrian Coos.
Winner of novice division, right? With a
but
boosted.
there's no tags or nothing. So
we're also missing.
Can't find him.
We're also missing the tag for third in novice.
Yep.
I know he's from Michigan. I know he traveled alone. I talked a lot to him. He's a very nice guy.
Very cool guy. Yep. Yeah.
I didn't
talk
for the record. I didn't talk to anybody who was not cool. Everyone was very
everyone
cool.
was so
Everyone
cool.
who I met was awesome. It was great to get to meet people and stuff.
Yep.
You know, I'm not super in the community. Like I'm on Instagram and stuff. I don't know a lot of people on the forums or anything, but it was really cool to like actually get to see more of our industry and like who's a part of it. Because up until now, it's always just been numbers on a screen.
Numbers on a screen, yeah, and letters, whatever, like just names and usernames, but they're all,
Not usually faces, usually just helmets.
What's funny is I knew all these people. I've been following them for years, but I don't know what most of them look like because they're always wearing helmets on their Instagram. So it's like I know them based on their helmets. I know them based on their board. Like I saw 18S's, I saw his grip tape. I said, "Oh, I know who that is."
Right.
But never knew what he looked like. I didn't know what his face looked like. And a lot of times I'm not trying that hard. I'm sure if I scroll through their feed, I could find pictures of them. But most of the time when I see them on their stories or whatever, they're riding. So they're always in helmets. But it was fun to actually meet these people, shake their hands. That was the biggest thing. You know what sucks? I didn't take pictures with anybody because I was just busy. I was just so busy all weekend. I just didn't think to stop and take photos with everybody. I really should have.
Well, that's why Ryan was there. So hopefully you just he got you doing live stuff, which I think.
Yeah, I got some. I definitely have some like more candid stuff for sure. But yeah, I mean the track, mixed reviews on the track so far. The track was, this is my thought. The track was very windy, very technical. So what it did was it put all these people's boards on a pretty level playing field because some of these boards have capabilities of going very, very fast, 40, 50 miles an hour, and some of them don't. But on this field, in this track, it didn't matter about how powerful your board was or how fast it could go. It was all about your riding skill level. Because there really wasn't a way there was never a time where you could open your board fully up. It was just, as
soon as you did, you had to hit the brakes.
Yep.
So I was hearing a lot of mixed, I'm just really smooth. I'm not using my brakes at all. Whereas others are saying, no, I'm hard on the acceleration and then hard on the brakes. So it's like, it was the amount of grip level that you thought you had.
Yep.
And whatever you had the balls to try.
Right.
Yep.
So like so what it sounds like is during the demos and the open skate, everyone was doing really well. But then as soon as we got into that race format, people were riding just a little harder than they're used to. And, people were spinning out a little bit.
And the dust that
so
the track.
So what's crazy is Mo came on Saturday night to the track at like midnight and then ended up spraying down all of the high risk curves with like this corn syrup mixture that would like add like tackiness to the track to add some grip.
And from what I heard, it worked.
It did work
for a while.
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic in the morning.
Yeah, one of the issues was we had this literally one single massive gust of wind that ended up putting my tent 10 feet in the air.
Yep.
For one time.
It was there and then it was gone.
It was there, it was gone, it came down, it was fine. Everything was fine. It was fine. It was literally, we had to clean up for like
little
2 minutes.
Desert devil or
a
whatever.
mini 20-second tornado.
It was really quick, but it ended up dusting the entire track just before races started.
Which made it like a shuffleboard.
Which made it kind of
a little slippery.
A little slippery, for sure. But to me, I think it was kind of fun.
I mean, look, that's racing. Racing is not perfect conditions. If
Right.
it would have been raining, we would have said, okay, guys, like, is your board waterproof? Oh, it's not. I guess you can't race. The rest of you guys, let's go race. But that's, look at any sport across the board. Whatever the track is, it's equal across. So
Right.
if you're on the track with the same 10 dudes at the same time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You're all up against the same
You're
thing.
all riding the same track. Like, if you want clear track conditions, get to the front.
Right.
You should have had a better qualifying or whatever. Like, so that it really like double equalized everybody.
Yeah.
Because if you recall in the pro division, for the first 2 laps, 18S wasn't leading the race.
No.
It's when our fantastic skater on his boosted, he missed a turn and he almost went into the wall and he lost all his momentum and he couldn't catch up, but he got second.
Yep.
So like,
Yeah, somebody uploaded
and
a
he
YouTube
was way
video
ahead of the guy in third. So realistically, like that maybe could have been a closer, cleaner race, but they were all on the same track.
Right.
So you have to race what's there. They all had an opportunity to adjust their boards. Nothing was like, NASCAR. Once you're locked in, you can't do a whole lot. You can change your air pressure in your tire, maybe. Like,
right.
I didn't see anybody make any adjustments.
I didn't see anyone let any air out of their boards.
Anybody clean their tires or do anything to help them.
Some of them were the pro category. They raced last.
I did see them like warming up.
Yeah, they were trying to do a couple of little mini burnouts to try to get their rubber a little hotter. But
the problem was you couldn't get your front tire hot.
No.
Or there were corners where you could 4-wheel drift. Even though we only have power in the rear, like I would feel all 4 tires slide, but you had control.
Yeah.
You didn't, if you tried too
They're
hard.
also, the whole track is banked too.
Right.
So you could use that to your advantage. So honestly, I think the track was very equalizing. I think it was fair.
We got
chaotic,
so
but it worked.
Yeah.
Yes, that little wind thing, it wasn't ideal, but it was.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Right,
I can't control the weather. So we're trying to figure out whether we're gonna do it at that same location again next year or not. I don't know.
We have a lot of time.
To
now. Decide that. There's already a couple changes like that we know we're gonna make. So there was some confusion. We didn't really come out with it right away about how the divisions were gonna be split. So it was split on time, but there wasn't like a base time that got you over or under a certain division.
Right.
So we split it based on how many racers there were. So we had 50 racers total, but I think there were only 30 on Esk8.
Yeah, because it's about 10 with summer board and about 10 with one wheel. So so I think a lot of people, because it's called qualifier, so I think a lot of people thought, oh, well, if I get a certain time, I get to race with the pros. When in reality, what we did was we took 30 racers and we sorted them from the fastest to the slowest, and we chopped the whole section of guys into thirds. So meaning the last qualifying pro and the first qualifying sportsman category, they could have been a half a second apart. They could have been, in theory, the same time almost, but raced in totally different categories.
You could have also had somebody that was or should have been very fast, have 2 bad laps and qualify lower.
Right.
But nobody said anything about that.
Right. No, I mean, it's just, so I thought, again, though, like, it just is what it is. Like, if you, like,
right. So we're thinking next year probably keep pro pretty small. So maybe only the top 10 qualifying rounds get into pro. And then everyone else gets split evenly amongst, really, like, the categories were not trying to like make anything of anyone. Like that's not what our intention was. We just had to split it up somehow.
Yeah.
And try to make it a little bit more even.
Well, that's what Mo usually does.
1, 2, 3 for all.
That's what Mo usually does. I mean, he splits them up into 3 categories, and that's just the way he does it. And I think it worked out well. I think, so this year we had 50 racers. I say next year we probably have 100. Like, I really do. I think the race day is going to be a lot bigger next year. The prizes will be bigger. Everything will be bigger.
We learned a lot. So also let's address some of the questions we've been getting about like next year. Yep. So a lot of people are talking about like, where's it going to be next? Like
I can tell you right where it's going to be in Vegas. It will always be in Las Vegas. I live here in Las Vegas. I had to go down to the track like 6 or 7 times throughout the entire planning of this event. If I did it somewhere in California or Chicago, this event would never happen. I cannot travel all those places that many times. So if we want this thing to be at all organized, I have to be in the city where it's going to happen, and that's where I'm at. It's also
like
the convention capital of the world.
People like to travel here, and it's easy to get from anywhere to get here. Other countries, like everywhere, everyone flies here. It's not hard to get a flight. It's not hard to get a hotel. All that stuff. It's also that if we do split the event, like if we did 2 locations, if we did one in Vegas and one East Coast, we would be splitting our vendors and we'd be splitting our people.
Yeah.
So you have to consider like anyone from the East Coast probably wouldn't have come to the Vegas one, and then you
No.
wouldn't have gotten to see those vendors or those people.
Yeah,
that you wanted
my
to meet.
fear is that we're gonna take one badass event, break it into 2 or 3, and we'll water all them all down.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me to do it that way.
It's so there's not to throw shade, but there's that Electrify Expo.
Yep.
And we've talked about going to that. We were going to go to that last year, and there were 3 locations. And what did we say? Like, well, that one's kind of far away, and like I don't know if I want to go there. But this one's like 4 hours away, so I'll go there. Like, so that means those other 2 events for us are useless.
Right.
And if we have it in 3 locations, like, why would somebody from the East Coast want to go to go to the West and vice versa? We hear it, but like.
And then we're spending 3 times as much on 3 different venues. We're spending
Right.
all that stuff. A lot of that stuff, it's a 2-day thing. You have to pay for all this money, whereas we could pay triple the amount for one awesome venue that everyone's gonna love instead of just 3 mediocre events.
Why
so,
doesn't CES have 5 events
Right.
a year? Like
there's a reason.
There is enough innovation in technology. You could have one of those every month.
Yeah.
But
easily.
But they don't. It's
Right.
once a year.
Yep.
It takes them an entire week, and they bust it out, get it over with.
Yeah.
We'll see you
I
next
know the ESK community is just itching for events.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, and I know once a year doesn't feel like enough probably, but I think for the vision that I have in my head for this event is it's the Esk8 event of the year. It's the CES of electric skateboarding. That's what we're striving for.
That's what the convention is. We've talked about possibly opening up maybe some traveling races, like smaller things, but there won't be a full convention like there was not in Vegas.
Yeah, I do think there should be an Esk8CON branded
Expo
race series or something.
Yeah.
But I still don't want to. I don't want people to go, well, I'll just go to this and then not come to Vegas
because it's not the same.
Right.
I want it. I want to make sure that people are coming.
This is the main event.
Yeah, and if we do ever break into a race series, what's going to end up happening is Vegas will be nationals. So we'll have regional races, and then Vegas will be the national competition, and that's probably what we'll end up heading towards, I think. But we're still only going to really try to get Vegas to be the event, the main event where everyone comes to.
This is our focus. The focus is, the vendor exposure, the convention side of it, the, guys, just us all being able to connect. The race, I think really initially was just kind of
extra.
Like, well, let's do a race while we're at it. And
Right.
we both thought, no problem, we'll throw this race on. And it didn't take long until we realized, I don't think we want to mess with this race. Like, we don't want to organize this. It's way better to let somebody do this. And the race, brought now a quarter of your attendance or a third of your attendance.
Yeah.
So it is,
it is
group that we want back.
Yeah.
we want it to be better. We want to, be as inclusive as possible, but ultimately it's also not the focus. So, if you pull the races, and do them and kind of spread them out, like that makes sense for it not to be the convention. It's just, it's like, the guys that are hosting will do it with other, local folks in their areas. And so it'll grow a little bit, organically through folks that attended the convention. And those year one, like, supporters are massive. That's huge.
No, it's huge. I keep getting questions on, to increase your turnout, I think you guys should, let electric bikes and electric scooters come. And I'm just, the whole thing is it's Esk8CON.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a place.
We're trying to make a place
Esk8.
for Esk8. Now, I do want there to be a handful, a small portion of our vendors that aren't electric skateboard related. Like we had
Yuko,
we had Yuko there. We had Flux Moving is heavy. I mean, pretty much exclusively one wheel.
Right.
We did Wheels and Rides. There's a local shop that does one wheels and stuff. We even had a sock company that has nothing to do with electric skateboarding.
We had non-electric skateboard, like.
Yeah, we had Sleek, which is right now their main focus is non-electric. But so there's a couple things we want there that appeal to electric skateboarders.
Right.
But we don't want it to be where the majority of it's electric bikes. And there's a couple Esk8 guys here.
They're so much bigger, they'll just take over.
They'll take over.
Those companies are just too huge.
They'll
to
take
keep
over,
up with.
and we want to make sure that the Esk8 guys are the majority there. And then while we're here, we'll go see this cool bike that's here, and we'll go see this drift trike, and okay, that was really cool.
Yeah.
But like, it's still all the electric skateboard people. It's the community that turns up is the electric skateboard community, not, oh, wow, yeah, we're just here in the corner while the e-bikes and electric scooters rule.
There's a huge push, you know,
Yep.
on EUC and bikes, and like we talked about it. We
Yep.
get it. You know, we wanted to get like Super 73 to come out, you know,
Yep.
just them. But
Right.
those dudes are very, like, I think they're like Esk8 minded. Like, those dudes throw their helmets on to go out and chill and hang out with their buddies.
Right.
Versus, and again, no shade, but like a Sur-on rider wants to do 60 miles an hour and go like do jumps in the desert, you know,
Just
and doing like
different.
wheelies. Like, I'm like, man, I can't even keep up with y'all. What?
Yeah.
It's a different animal. And so we're like keeping that core Esk8 centered,
Yeah.
you know, focus on ultimately, like, right. Ultimately, it's the shit that we love.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I don't love UC. I don't love bikes. I own a bike, but like not an electric one.
Right.
It's just a bike.
And we do want to like include like the one wheel guys because they're kind of a weird in between. Like, so those guys are cool.
We can be the next step for some one wheel, whereas like it's harder to bring somebody backwards from a bike or
Right.
you know, whatever. Like, I feel like there's a little more commingling.
And there's kind of already places at other conventions for those companies.
right.
Right.
Like there's places for those people already.
Yeah. Yeah.
For scooters and bikes. But-
Yeah.
So we're kind of out of time.
Are we out of
but-
time?
Not to like wrap it up, but I don't want it to get too long.
Yeah.
But we are looking for opinions of people who were there.
Yep.
So we will put the survey form in the description box so that you guys can fill it out if you came and hung out. We'd love to hear about how you guys think we could grow and change our event.
Yep. If you were not there, please don't fill it out. There's no point.
Yeah, sorry. We
Sorry.
care about your opinion, but
We
not
do.
not
Hey,
in this case.
if you
Not
have
right now.
if you have general ideas, feel free to put them in the comments below. But if you were not there, then just hold off on the survey. No worries. But we'll put it down there for anyone who was there. But anyway, we're just trying to. So far, we put the survey out already, and so far we've had like 20 responses. 100% of people say they're coming back next year.
But we really just want to grow and learn and make it
Better. Yep.
the best that it can be. And, you know, we don't have all the answers,
Yep.
but we know that you guys will. So
Right. So anyways, thank you guys for coming to the convention. Thank you. I mean, the whole podcast. If you guys didn't come this year, you have to come next year. It
Yep.
will be in March again. So mark off your calendars. It's going to be in March. It's going to be in Vegas.
Yeah.
So we'll get the exact dates over to you soon. We'll try to, I think we're going to start planning again. We're going to take some months off, but I think June, July, somewhere in there, we're going to start putting the bug in people's ears about dates and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then,
Vendors already.
I think
we'll
by
start
then,
that
I
even
think a
before.
handful will say
Right.
yes already right away.
Right.
You already, we got 3 for sure. MBoards, Board Bumpers, Geckoderm will be there again.
Yep.
But other than that, I would say most of our vendors will be returning. Vast majority.
I think so.
I would say
so. If we
80%
lose a
come-
couple, like, I mean, they're going to get replaced by 5. You know,
which I
and
can't
it could
even
just be
think
a
of any
logistical-
who wouldn't come back for any reason other than like a conflict.
Right.
Yeah, no. As far as I can tell, everybody was super happy. Like I had no, and a lot of the vendors I think would just say, "Hey, what's up with this?" But I have not gotten any major feedback. Now, some feedback, some constructive stuff, but nothing that would go, "Oh, we're not coming back next year." Like I think everybody was happy with the turnout. I think everybody felt like there was good value in it. So yeah, I think we're good. But we'll see.
Good.
I think we're good.
We'll
but
be talking about it till next year.
yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll be working on it. And
Yeah, so
making
next,
it better.
so now the next following episodes, we'll have a couple guests on, that were in town from the convention. They're all really cool. Stay tuned for those, and then eventually, when we run through those, we'll return for our regularly scheduled programming. So, it's kind of exciting, but yeah, we'll
Still so much to talk about.
Oh, there's still so much. There's more. There's more to talk about.
Yeah.
But some specifics and some stories and whatever. But we'll sprinkle all that in, during some other episodes.
I would say I'd like to hear if anybody has any other experiences they'd like to share. Good, short, long, in between, just anything off the cuff, positive. We'd love to hear some positive. We know that there's negative, because it shows up right away.
Save that for the survey.
But if there's just a story you want to tell us about something cool, I've seen a few posts that you read them and you're kind of it's not just a normal post. You feel like somebody's writing it with emotion and not
Right.
just, oh, I'm going to put a post out and I don't know what the heck to write. Like those stories keep us super motivated.
Yep. A handful of people, you could tell that they just felt so compelled to write something super nice.
Right.
They just had to write it. And to those people, thank you for, it was so odd. I just didn't expect so many people to thank us for putting it on. I was thanking them for coming.
Right.
I just didn't expect it to be the other way around. So that just caught me totally off guard. And I just feel like it's weird because I feel like I don't deserve that. I think they deserve the thank you for coming, because without each other, they all made it happen. They all made it happen for each other. I simply put a website together.
Chose a place to do it.
Chose a place to do it. I don't know.
Come hang out with us.
Come hang out. Right. But so thank you guys for coming. Thank all our vendors for showing up because they made it possible too. And thank you guys for listening because without this show, I know we reached quite a bit of people who came to the convention who heard it for the first time here on the podcast. So without you guys watching, without the growth of the podcast, this whole thing might have been in a different spot. So
I know I can speak for the listeners as well as myself, but thank you for like the crazy idea one day to do this. I still remember when you walked in the office and you're like, so I think I want to have an Esk8 convention.
It was like a fever dream.
I remember sitting there and being like, what the hell is this guy talking about right now? And he just went off for like 2 hours and all these ideas. And he just like basically threw them all out on the table. And I was like, yeah, bro, write it down. Let's do it.
And you know what? I got hyper fixated that night. I got hyper fixated for a week straight. I could not think about anything else. And I put the whole website together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And once it was together, I was like, well, the website's done. So now it's just about sending emails out.
I think we still have an ancient like to-do list in our Notion of like ESK8CON, like what we need to put it together. And it was like, there was a spreadsheet of vendors and there was like all these people and you like just spent months contacting people and trying to get people to come. And
I spent a month just compiling a list of every Esk8 company I could possibly think of and then just emailing them one at a time and getting rejections, getting, we'll see, getting, oh, that sounds cool. Like, so who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, fascinated to see what the responses are this next go round.
I cannot wait. I'm so stoked because that list is going to be epic. I'm so excited.
Keep that website active. Get a quick link for them to just say sign up. That's all you need, man.
If
lit up.
If the companies who promised they'd show up next year do actually show up, our list is easily 50 plus vendors. Easily. So it's going to be absolutely wild next year. But which is nice because the more people who show up, the cheaper it should get for all of our guests to come, which is nice.
And just the better we can do, you know.
Right.
Everything is just
everything's be scaled up.
Get dialed up a little bit every year.
Swag bags will be better. The stuff inside of them will be better.
Whoop, whoop.
God,
I'm gonna
have to give away more stuff this year.
Yeah, we'll give away some stuff.
Jeez.
It's all good. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching again. We will see you
when we see you.
We'll see you when we see you. We'll see you in the next one. We'll be back. We got some more stuff coming out. But
got some good interviews coming up.
Yep, but we'll see you when we see you. Peace.